Tell you what, every man think that his burden is the heaviest. Every man think that his burden is the heaviest. But I still know who feels it knows it, Lord. 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 You're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running, but you can't run away from yourself. 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 Something you don't want nobody to know about. You must have, Lord, something is wrong. Take me down. What you must have done, you must have done something wrong. Something is wrong. Why you can't find where you belong? Well, wow. Don't say that. Oh, yeah. Them crazy. Come on, man. Them crazy. Gonna chase those crazy boys out of town. Come on, chase those crazy boys out of town. Yeah, I'll bring it like this. I build a cabin. I plant a corn. Didn't my people before me slave for this country? Look at that. Now you look at me with the scorn. Then you eat up all my corn. We're gonna chase those crazy. Come on. Chase those crazy. Chase those crazy boys. Chase those crazy boys. Chase those boys out of town. Build your penitentiary. We build your schools. The brainwash education. You're trying to make us your fools. Well, hatred our love. Come on. Yelling at us off your God above. We're gonna chase those crazy. Chase those crazy. Chase those crazy boys. Come on. Chase those crazy bumpers. Chase those crazy boys. I love us. Excuse me, here comes the coming with the strong blend. We won't take no bribe. We've got to stay alive. We're gonna chase those crazy. Chase those crazy. Chase those crazy bullets. It's like this. Chase those crazy bumpers. Chase those crazy bullets. Out of
All right, guys. So before we let me mute, but before we continue with our live stream, this is just a quick thing about what today is about. You know, Face Friends Foundation. By the way, I introduced myself, Winston. You already, if you're on my live right now, most of you already know me, and so not a lot of introduction needed. You know, Face Friends Foundation has been working with Walmart and Sam's Club, and you know those are two sister organizations. And you know, today is Sam's Club's day of service, and their employees and Walmart employees as well are volunteering with Sam's Club, and so they choose an organization, and there's more than one organization. They've selected Face Friends Foundation as one of the organizations that their employees, Sam's Club and Walmart, that are volunteering today in the background, meaning that they log in and they whatever they can do, donate, volunteer. They're working with Face Friends Foundation. So the reason is to give space for those employees to come on and in the background and do work for the organization. So that's what today's about. And so, you know, I wanted to get you guys up to speed about what it is that Face Friends Foundation has been doing. And today is a busy day for everybody, because it's not like we're here and just have anything else to do with. Today is tax day, so you know this is the last day you can file your taxes. So my organization, my business organization is busy today, and so you know that me being on the stream is not, and I can stay that long, but I go back and forth on the stream and making sure that I'm tending to the volunteers, from Sam's Club and any emails that they're sending to me. And what they're doing is to tell their friends and others, family, to go ahead and support Face Friends Foundation. So that's why it's an online thing today, where volunteers of Walmart and Sam's Club, we're appreciative of the collaboration that we've had with Sam's Club and the collaboration we are having with Walmart. We do that a lot. So we appreciate the efforts of that organization. It's the largest company in the United States in terms of volume of business that they do. And so just to be able to have their employees, not like it's mandatory, but that they're just recommended. If you want to volunteer with an organization, here's a few organizations you can volunteer with. We were selected as part of a large group of organizations that they can volunteer with. So let me, right now we're just trying to get, set up a little bit so that anyone, I'm on my tablet looking see what volunteers are needing. I'm also tending to organizational business, my business. And, you all have your business in the middle of the day. And so we know that your guys just don't have, you can't just say, okay, I spend an hour, 2 hours. But this is just to be able to get you guys aware of what it is that we're doing in the organization. We're getting food for people who are in need. We're doing an abundant cheese drive. That is something that we're not yet there in terms of that. And then we're doing the back to school week. So what Walmart has been doing in terms of their efforts with us is that we have a Walmart registry. So with their volunteers, whenever their volunteers decides to help, they go to Walmart registry and they purchase something from the Walmart registry, and then they send those items to us. So that if let's say it's a backpack or whatever it is, they go in there and do that, and then it comes directly to us. So we don't necessarily have to be at their stores a lot like what we were last year. So we are working with them in that way. So I wanted to, I know that some of y'all have been extremely important to the organization, and I wanted to recognize y'all for the work that y'all been doing. And this is not a sprint. This is it's more than even a 1,500. It's like a 3,000. Where we don't expect to get there in the next few days or the next few months, maybe even not the next few years. And so my job is to move the organization forward, and I recognize that it is not always going to be easy to do that. We're a young organization, and not everybody understand what it is, what we do, and are able to support it and all of that. I'm not on camera right now because, as I said, we can be on camera, but the point is that we have work in terms of my own personal business, so we have to be dealing with our clients, and they have to be taken care of. Their taxes have to be filed today, which is one of the things that we do. So I'm not trying to promote that right now. That's just off the record. But right now, what we're trying to do right now is to get this. What Walmart and Sam's Club are helping us do, and they're moving people to say support the organization, and what this is about. Okay, all right. So I just absolutely appreciate, you guys, my friends. Some of you, a point of personal privilege. I know that some of you have gone through a period of sadness. I know that the death in the family of some of y'all who have been supporting the organization, and I wanted to tell you that we, as an organization, and as me myself as an individual, I understand the grief that some of you have gone through in the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe more, and losing family and relatives and friends, and it has been tough a while. So, I wanted to say to you guys, the Face Friends Foundation as a family, we are here for you, and as a friends that we grew up with, friends that you know me, I want to tell you that, I recognize the pain that you are going through, and we can only pray that, through his God's, mercies, that you will overcome that. I know, Karine, I know you just lost your dad, and I understand it just last weekend took care of the burial and all of that. And so, Karine, I want to tell you that you joined the organization when we just started, and one of the first members of the board of directors, Karine. And I want to tell you that we understand as an organization and as friends that you are long suffering, and that this was a tough time for you. And I want to appreciate you and tell you that we love you, and that we are looking out for you and caring about you. And even and the Aaron's family, I know that you guys have been great friends to my family, and friends to the organization. I know a couple of you donated to the organization, so I know you just lost your sister and recently lost a mom. And so it's been tough for the Aaron's family. And I wanted to tell you that we are also praying for you, and that understanding that this is a point in time in your life that you are grieving, and it's something that we all have to deal with in life as part of the human race. And also to the McPhail family, we grew up together, Audrey and the rest of the family. I know you just lost your brother, and a friend of mine as well. We grew up together as brothers, young people, and just lost Elvis. And I understand that it is a tough situation. So as a family, I wanted to give you guys my hug and give you a broad shoulders, and a big bear hug to say, we are, as a family and a group of a community of friends, we are with you. And so we want to tell you that, keep hope and alive, keep your heart open for blessing, and it is not always, at the dark, but sometimes dawn is near. So if I'm going to continue this, let Mr. Marley, one of the icons of Jamaican music, and let him continue to sing. And as I said, monitoring the things that we're doing. I have a couple of screens that and things I have to jump onto, then go back and forth to what I'm doing in my office, and submitting documents and all of that. So appreciate y'all. I'll keep coming back, as I said, to update y'all on this stream. As I said, this is for people who are in terms of who's working behind the scene, volunteering for the Walmart and Sam's Club family. They're going on to a link that they have, and they're able to go in there and recommend to their friends. And Walmart would, I guess, provide to them a certain amount of volunteer hours, and then we can approve those hours. So this is good. It's a win-win for volunteers of Walmart, employees, and Sam's Club. All right, guys. As I said, I'll keep tracking your comments on the various computers that I have, and as I said, it is appreciative and what y'all have been doing for the organization. I want you guys, if you can support the organization, go to the links that we have and just buy even a pack of crayons, whatever it takes for people that we are working with. And we are trying to do the cheese drive. It's been tough because we have not yet reached the goal that we have to reach in terms of being able to get that done. And so I want to, it's been tough, but we are a tough, hardy group of people. We in the United States here and in Jamaica, we are part of my friends here in the United States and my friends there in Jamaica. But all of y'all been a group of people that has been gritty and been friends for a long time. The group that that I've been a part of, friends that I've been a part of for a long time. And so you know, I have confidence in what we're doing as an organization, as a group of friends. That's why we call it Face Friends Foundation, meaning that we are friends, but we face the reality. We face each other, and we acknowledge what it is, what the work ahead of us is, and we're not reticent in saying that, you know, we need to reach to that point. We, you know, and if we're not there, we need to get there, you know. And recognizing that joy coming in the morning. So let's continue, and I will try. I'll come back to you probably in a few minutes after we get some more things set up here, and looking to see what our Walmart and Sam's Club folks are telling us. All right, thank
you. Rise up, falling fighters. Rise and take your stance again. It's he who fights and run away. Live to fight another day. And the heathen back there on the wall. 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 As a man, so shall he reap. And I know that talk is cheap. But the hot of the battle, of a sweet touch of victory. I believe in that day on the wall. 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 On the wall. Jam for unity, one identity. So everybody, get yourself together right now. Come on, hey, 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 hey. Come on, I can't hear. Hey, energy. All right, hey, hey, get yourself together. which old one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. War! Until the philosophy which old one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. Well, everywhere is war. It's a war. And until there's no longer first class nor second class citizens of any nation, and until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of the size, I've got to say war. And until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race, it's a war. But until that day, the dream of lasting peace, world citizenship, and the rule of international morality will remain but a fleeting illusion to be pursued, but never attained. Well, everywhere is war. It's war. War in the east, war in the west, war up north, war down south. Hey, it is a war. Boy, a romance of war. Yes, it is a war. Boy, a romance of war. And until the ignoble, unhonorable regime that goes our brothers in Zimbabwe, in a Zimbabwe now, anywhere in Africa, is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. Well, everywhere, war in the east, war in the west, living out, war up north, war down south. Hey, it's a war, a romance of war. Yes, it is a war, a romance of war. 'Cause until that day, the African continent will not know peace. We Africans will fight, we find it necessary. We know we shall win. We are confident in the victory of good over evil, of good over evil, of good over evil. Well, everywhere is war. It's a war. 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 It's a war. Oi, oi, a war. Oi, war. Oi, oi. find it necessary. We know we shall win. You know, we are confident into victory. Come on, man. Of good over evil. Yeah. Of good over evil. Of good over evil. Well, everywhere it, everywhere it, well, hey, we don't need, oh, no, 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 no more trouble, no more trouble. We don't need, after this, after, you know, no more trouble, no more trouble, no more trouble. Hey, what we need is to guide and protect us. If your hope look down from help the weak if you are strong. Yeah. We don't need no trouble. What we need is love. What we need is love. We don't need. No, 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 no. No more trouble. No more trouble. No more. No more trouble. We don't need. No more trouble. No more. Speak happiness. Sad enough about your woes. Come on and speak of love. Sad enough about your foes. Hey. We don't need no trouble. What we need is love. We don't need. Oh, lively, 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 lively. Lively up yourself. Yeah. Come on. What you get that I don't know. I'm trying to wonder why wonder why you lively up yourself. And don't be no, lively up yourself and free. Yeah. Lively up yourself. 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 Come on. Yeah. Yes, it's a conscious thing now. And people come together and say, I know what? Yes, everybody has the answer. Everyone has the answer. Everyone has the answer. You don't fool yourself. Everyone has the answer. Everyone knows what can bring this kindness. People don't let them use them. No one gonna cry. No one. I said, no woman to cry. No woman to cry. I say, I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown. Over serving the hypocrites. And they would win with the good people we made. Good friends we have, oh, good friends we love. Along the way, hazy. It's this great future which is like you can't forget your past. So dry your tears, I say. Don't come and cry. we used to sit in the government yard, entrenched down, and then Georgie would make a firelight as it was burning through the night. Then we would move on the forest, of which I share with you. We, my fear is my only carrot. So I got to push through. Everything's gonna be alright. 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 It's a woman of life. Don't shed no tears. No, no woman. Let's play this system. Don't shed no tears. No, no woman. Don't shed no tears. No, no, jamming with jamming, and I hope you like jamming too. Ain't no rules, ain't no doubt. You can do what's anyhow. Cause I and I will see you through. Every day we pay the price. Feel the living sacrifice. Jamming till the jam gets through. Yeah, but jamming. The jamming was a thing of the past. Jamming, jamming. I hope this jam is all that lasts. We need a better people now. We need a better soul. God, the right attention to the right. Life is worth more than gold. Jamming in the name of jamming, yeah. And the jamming right straight from the Lord. It's the Holy Mount Zion. Holy Mount Zion. That's the Holy Mount Zion. And ruling all creation. Here we are. I want to be here. I want to Yes, the Lord, I can't resist. Turn around my side. Oh, yeah, we're jamming. Sing. I want to jam with Oh, you better get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Preacher man, don't tell me heaven is on the earth. I know you don't know what life is really worth. It's not all that victory stole. Of the story has never been told. And now you see the light. What's for you? Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Come on. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Oh, get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. You see, most people say, great God will come from the sky. Take away everything. Make everybody feel high. But if you know what life is worth, and you would look for your somewhere, and now you see the light, what's for you? Stand up for your right. Yeah, stand up, stand up for your right. Yeah, stand up, don't give up the fight. Stand up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. You see, we're seeking the kisses, kisses. I don't know the heaven, listen. We know and we all understand. A mighty God is a living man, and you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And now you see the light, what you gonna do? Stand up for your right. Yeah. Stand up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. You really get up, stand up. You ready now? Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Over there. Don't give up the fight. Each and every one of you. Don't give up the fight. Come on, get to know. 'Cause I never give up the fight. 'Cause I never give up the fight. No matter what they say, I never give up the fight. It can't change today. I never give up the fight. So children, don't give up the fight. 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 Why, tell you this. Many people will fight you down when you see that light. Let me tell you, if you're at home, when everything is alright, so we're gonna walk through the roads of creation. Be the generation, tell you, touch the tribulation. And look whether are you satisfied with the life we're living? Well, we know where we're going. We know where we're from. We're leaving back in our door. We're going to the promised comes the breakdown pleasure. Ruling quality, yeah. Wait for it, transgress on. The captain's free. The captain's free. The captain's free.
All right, guys. So I appreciate you guys, anyone tuning in. This is a stream that we are doing for Face Friends Foundation. And just to get you guys interested in getting to our website and doing a volunteer, signing up for volunteering or donating or simply just to show your support. So we appreciate all that, that our volunteers and foundation members are doing in terms of simply just participating in the civic life of this country and both in Jamaica and here in the United States. So it's not just about what we're doing today, but what we're hopeful for is that out of our promoting the organization, that folks who work at the organization that are sponsoring today's day of service, that the employees over time will begin to say, okay, here's an organization that they can begin to throw their weight behind and do for the organization. So, it's remember when we were growing up as children, and I can't speak for everybody across, all, the times that, you've known me and all of that. But when we grew up in Jamaica, there was this thing saying that one cocoa full basket. The Honorable Robert Nesta Marlis sang about that one cocoa full basket, and it's always was relevant then, and it's relevant now. How you progress, is one thing at a time, and it's because we're not okay. As big as some other organization doesn't mean that you shouldn't say, well, one cocoa full basket. When if I do it here and somebody else do it there, then over time the basket will be full. And so that's how I want you to see what we are trying to do. That it's not overnight that we can become where we hope to be. And so if you take a step in terms of volunteering, in terms of just simply doing something, and giving back to the community. And it's not just the community that you live in, but it's a community, it's a global community, across the length and breadth of, the globe. So, we have volunteers across the globe, in Ghana, in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, in India, just people who have seen the organization and said, can I help? What we're trying to do is to have a situation where we are able to have the things that the organization needs in terms of financially, so that we can do something for a group of people at any point in time that, the organization feel like this is necessary. So with each quokka you put in that basket, then we are able to do something else for somebody else. And so just putting that cocoa into that basket, then absolutely we can take great strides in where we're trying to go and where we're trying to be. And so, talk about, life, and we're not called to be here permanently, as I've said many times. And so our journey on this planet is just brief and temporary and fleeting. And so we are not gathering for 100 years in the future, in terms of saying what it is that we're gathering for. We are gatherers because we're gathering for the generation that's here, that is needing the services that we can provide, the help that we can give. And so, a lot of people, create monuments and bank accounts and homes that are larger than life, and statues built in their names and all of that, as if this is a long-term event. And life is just fleeting and is nowhere long-term. And so what we do right now matters to that next generation. What we do is to signal to an upcoming generation that we right now care about what you will be doing 20 years from now. And so in the community, and we want to show that generation that our generation care about their generation. And so we saw the generation before us. If you lived in America like I didn't, when in the years when Dr. King was spreading, trying to bring equality to a race, and understanding that this was something that was beyond his time. And so his time was fleeting. And he understood that, and understood that his time was to do something so that guys like me and my children and next generation that is coming by will say, who was Dr. Martin Luther King? What was that movement about? And what is it I'm called to do? And so what I'm asking is that we, as a generation, not just a generation from a certain part of the, or a generation from Jamaica, a generation from the United States, but a global generation, look at what's happening and what it is that we can do. Dr. King, he, in one of his speeches, understanding that morning drew closer, and that his days were numbered. And so he understood that. And when you can understand that there, then you can say, what is my purpose? What is it that I have to do? Dr. King is my hero because is one of my heroes, and he said, I've been to the mountaintop. And he said that when he went to the mountaintop, he looked over and he seen the promised land. And that was important news for the people that followed him, because at least they understood that he was a leader in a broader sense, someone who can see beyond today. And when you are a leader, your vision should be broad and beyond today. And when he said he looked over and seen the promised land, we know that he didn't physically travel to a promised land. His body was right there, but he said that he looked over and he's seen the promised land. And so if you're a follower, then you understand that someone is seeing and is leading and is seeing that there is such a place that we're trying to get to. And so therefore, if you're being beaten and brutalized and made to sit in prison and taken advantage of, it is not, you should understand that there is a future ahead, and that it involves you. And if it doesn't involve you and you have to make the sacrifice, it involves your children and your children's children. So, as I said, the Faith Friends Foundation is not a business, and it's not something I do as a hobby. It's a calling on my life. I have said that, right at the heights of the pandemic, when I sat in front of Ted's Bar and Grill in my car, that's when I was sitting in my car in front of Ted's Bar and Grill and Beaufort, Georgia. And I was looking on my phone, waiting to go pick up my order. And I saw something about lines of people standing out for food, and what was becoming and what was happening as people's deaths started to pile up, and lives were being changed. And that moment of lives being obliterated, and people unable to cope, I said to myself, what is it that is my requirement, my duty, and my responsibility to what I seen and what was being told? And I seen the suffering in my community. I seen the suffering in Jamaica, and I seen the changes. And I sat in my car, as I said to you guys long those years ago, and I remember my childhood and growing up as a little boy in Jamaica. And as I said, in terms of that, my mind went back to my childhood, traveled all the way back to Jamaica, and saw my mom. And I sat in the car, and my mind went back to who this woman was. And I remember in that little room, in that bed with my brothers, as a young boy. And as I said, my mind traveling back then. And I remember, as I said, many, many times I woke up in the middle of the night that night, and to a sound of my mom crying. It was Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve. And in Jamaica, growing up at that time, Christmas and Christmas Eve was an important point. It was a reference point in your life, or even as an adult, to determine if you are successful or not, if you are able to take care of your children, if they're able to get what it is they're trying to get. It was an examination of your life as a parent. As a parent, you are required, and you are being examined around that time of the year. As a boy, I understood what my parents were going through. So I, as I said, I woke up that night and I crawled out of the bed. And I just sat there on my knees, right between the door, and no one. It was about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. No one has seen me, but I crawled through the door and sat there as a little boy. I think I was no more than 6 or 7. I'm not even sure if I was that. And I heard my mom crying, and she was saying something like, "Me alone in the wilderness." And she kept repeating that, "Me alone in the wilderness." And as I said, that moment in my life was a moment of clarity, even as a kid, because she said she was on her knees crying to God that she was alone in the wilderness, because who was there to take care of the family? Who was going to be able to give Christmas gifts and dinner and what the kids needs, and painting the outside, because your job as a parent was to take care of those things. Just the smell of new paint on the walls was an important reference point to a parent. The smell of paint, the smell of things happening in your life, and if you weren't able to do that, it means you are in poverty. You are not meeting the time you're in poverty. And my mom crying, "Me alone in the wilderness." And as I said, sitting back in that car, reflecting on my mom and reflecting on what it is that I was called to do. This is something that a reference point, a marker in my life. And as I said, I listened there to my mom cry, and it wasn't a normal cry. As I said, it was a moaning, it was a weeping, it was something that I have not heard since then at any point in time. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard and listened to that kind of sound. And I remember getting back into bed with her still crying and weeping and just going back to bed, tears in my eyes that I knew and I knew she was suffering. So the next day, we woke up and there was no ever discussion of that night. Slight whispers from us as kids amongst ourselves regarding what took place. We never asked her what it was that she was crying, but we knew it was a recognition of poverty. And over the years, as I said, never asked my mom what it was, because instinctively I knew what it was as a kid. And so to be able to overcome that and to be able to move beyond that, to see my mom lived out her life and seeing us grow up and out of poverty, for her to have come to the United States and seen us and recognizing that there is no set station in life. There's no set place that we need to consign ourselves to. And, as I said, I years afterwards, when I sat on the bed across my mom when she got older, and we had a son and mom talk long years afterwards, and she revealed a lot of things to me, as I said. And at that point, she did tell me that she wasn't going to survive. And so we, as I said, we are called to take care of what it is that we can do as a generation, as a people. We were talking about Dr. King and what is it that his generation was called to do. what is it that we can do in our own small way, in our own little corner? How can we do something that measures up to people like your mom, like my mom, like Dr. King? What is it that we are asked to do to measure up? Measure up. It's not just about saying that, I have a big house and we are accumulating and we are gathering a big bank account and we are gathering a certain amount of life, luxuries and cars and boats and showing y'all the magnitude of our success. But what is it that then we're supposed to say, give back to our community? Because that's the whole purpose of what it is that we are being asked to do here as people, as a generation. And that's why I come on here and people ask me, say, Winston, you're working on this nonprofit foundation and, it's 4 years in, and how is it going? And, are you succeeding? And I got to be realistic and straight about how fast we are going. But I just look at the role that people like Dr. King played, and in those times that they were able to look beyond the circumstance of being Billy Club and a governor, and trying to prevent a people from reaching where it is that they need to be at. And so we saw Dr. King rose up and talked, he had the I Have a Dream speech, where he talked about the color of a man's skin and he understood that there are different people in our community: white, black, Asian, Hispanic, and everybody else. And that we are all one people, the human race. It had nothing to do with your skin color, and it had nothing to do with your class or your creed or your sex or your religion or where you're from and who you are. It had to do with your character, who it is that you are inside. That's what determines a person, your character. So, as I say here, as I said, that bringing this organization to you guys ever so often, it's based on my own experience growing up in a country that first there was poverty and then there was change. And so I remember growing up in the early years where, as I said before, we didn't know that you could have hardwood floor on a kitchen, and all that sort of stuff. We knew of dirt, black dirt that created hard, that stuck together and was the floor of the kitchen that I grew up in early, very early, Dutch pot and outside kitchen. And when I was growing up, as I said, as a child, I knew that poverty existed, but I didn't think I was, because I was being loved by my parents, and I thought that living in a country where the natural beauty of land and wood and water and sea and fruits and all of that was enough for me to live. And so recognizing that there's poverty, and that it's not easy for a parent to find the school book and the school lunch and the clothes and the uniforms and the things that people need in order to make it. Those are a tough thing for a parent, especially when you're living in poverty. So Face Friends Foundation is that organization that says, we can change a little bit of that. Just like Dr. King thought, he knew that it was not going to happen during his lifetime. He understood that freedom and equality was not going to be overnight, and that there would have been sacrifices along the way, including himself. And so we have people like Marcus Garvey, who sacrificed his life, and we have other great icons of, who have given up life to give us a new outlook, a new zest, a new sight about what it is that the future might hold. And there are a lot of people like that who have given up everything. And it's not just, as I said, it's not just about Black folks, and it's not just about, it's people like during the World War I, World War II, who went to Germany, and on the first day of the battle, they lost their lives, thousands. The first day. Think about those young people trying to save a country, trying to save a generation in Germany on the fields of Normandy. They gave up everything, just like my mom did. They gave their last measure of devotion to this country, and just like Dr. King gave his last measure of devotion to his people and to the country. Last measure of devotion. And as I said, guys, my mom, sitting in Georgia a couple of years before she died, I sat on the bed with her, and as I said, had that long talk about what she was about. Because as a kid, you weren't allowed to inquire of what was happening. It was out of your place. So growing up and reaching the point where I could sit down with my mom and say, finally, have that long talk about what it is that she was about. And getting the explanation of everything, was a great feeling, as I said before, to be able to see a great woman. And that's Face Friends Foundation is my legacy to that woman. It's my legacy to her, to say that suffering that I saw that night I may not have been able to solve it then, but my job here is to say that, can we do something for that? And it's a legacy that I will pass on to a future generation. And for them to carry the, not further, and to take care of the future. I've said, before that the whole idea about what it is that we are supposed to be doing is in the story of the Good Samaritan. And I've said that before, what we do right now to the individual who is there, that we walk past every day, and what we see, and what it is that we do to change a life and to do something. Sometimes it's just $1. You drop in that can, and you may think it shouldn't be out here, and whatever you think of him or her, it is not your job to determine that. Let that be decided by something else. What is your job? What is my job? My job is to take care of that person if I can in any way, and to do it with a joyful spirit. And as I said, the Good Samaritan. So let me All right, guys. So we're having technical issues right here. So we're going to do, I appreciate you guys trying to get some sound back and all of that. All right. We've gotten some sound back, and I appreciate that, guys. So it's now 1:45. We're going to try to end the live at 2 o'clock. And the folks who work at Sam's Club and Walmart, who are doing work for us in terms of trying to promote the organization, I thank you from the bottom of our hearts of the work that you're doing, and for an organization that you just came upon, and and for the people who volunteered with Face Friends Foundation from the very beginning, the board of directors and the people who have come in and worked for free and just done everything that we have asked them to do, and without compensation, without any kind of anything, they have given their time and resource and all of that. So I just appreciate them, appreciate the foundation. As I said, just go to Face Friends Foundation, do something donate, go to our registry, donate a book, help a child learn, donate a bag. That's going to be a child being able to put some books in that bag and take to school. Donate some dry stuff that your child can put in their book bag when they're going to school and be able to eat something during the day. Just do what it is that you can do. Donate your time. Just do what it is that you can do to make a difference in the lives of people. All right, so let me pause a little bit, as I said, and keep going for maybe a few more minutes. And we are broadcasting live to our YouTube channels, to our Instagram channels, to our Facebook page. We're just broadcasting to bring awareness to the foundation, and anyone that sees it, understanding what it is that we're about. Face Friends Foundation. We are a nonprofit charitable organization. We are 501c3. That means that we're recognized by the IRS as a nonprofit charitable organization. That means whatever you donate to the foundation is accountable for, and so you don't have to think about, and then you get a tax credit for or deduction for donating to the foundation. That is so important. Just a lot of organization that you're able to do that. And I do this, as I said, in the name of that generation. And a lot of even being born here in the United States, we're born in poverty. It may not be the kind of poverty you may see in a small country like Jamaica, but it is still poverty sometimes. And then equality, the fight for that. And what we see right now for immigrants, and the fight that it's a new fight for immigrants who are being made to feel as if they are not part of our culture, not part of our society, not who we are. It's another struggle that immigrants are faced with right now. And it's not just about food, and it's not just about race. It is about creed, and it's about where you're from. Those have been the struggle in this country. And it was always a barrier that we need to overcome. And right now, we're being told the immigrants, they may not say it like when they did say it, when they would write on the walls and on signs that, African Americans aren't welcome here. But you might as well write it if you're saying immigrants are not welcome. You have families being broken apart, children being separated from their moms, and right there in the car going home, on the road, on the side of the road, cars are being stopped. Parents are being taken out of cars and leaving their children in the car. We have people going to a restaurant or illegally in the United States and being separated from their families and put in prison. where families, people being sent overseas to the jungles of El Salvador to go live a life of condemnation, a life of no freedom, never to be seen again. People are being taken. And the questions, it's not about politics. This is not about what party you vote for. And it's about humanity. It's about what it is that we're about. Who we are, what do we stand for? The rights that Martin Luther King stood up for, what is it, who we stand for, what is it we stand for? And if we say nothing, it's an agreement that you can continue doing what it is that you do. We have a responsibility to ourselves and to our fellow human beings to say what is not right. What is wrong. Dr. King, said we all, that all men are created equal, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all of that. We are equal human beings in America under the law. And yet that's not what we see right now. So it's about everything. It's about standing up. It's about giving back. It's about raising food and raising funds. And it's about backpacks and all of that. It's about character. It's about everything that we know we're about as a people. And I understand that what we do is not without risk. And we understand that. Dr. King understood it. That at any moment we could be face to face with our worst nightmare. So, I just say right now, help us. We're not, Face Friend Foundation has nothing to do with politics, or it has to do with who we are, helping. And then we stand up for human rights as well. We are a nonprofit, and we are about humanity. And so we would speak on behalf of those who have no voice. If they don't, because they're scared, we all are. But sometimes we have no choice but to speak and to let our voices be heard. So I just want to chip away at getting you guys to someone to see this video somewhere down the road. It could be a year from now on Facebook, or it could be a year from now on YouTube, that they come across this video. So, that part of the scripture that says, cast your bread upon the waters and you'll find it after many days. And so sometimes if you get a stone and go to a stream or a river or a pond or whatever it is and just fling that stone into there, you will see a ripple that goes across that stream. And we never think about how far that ripple goes. And we don't know. But that ripple goes way beyond your sight, what it is that you're able to see, because the little thing that we do here, we don't know how far we're pushing the envelope and who is it that we're affecting and what life that will be changed by it. So so I just want to give thanks and to give praise for having the breath of life and being able to live in this world. There are a lot of folks right now who are facing tremendous odds. Tremendous odds. There are folks who are lying down in bed right now, faced with their mortality. The folks who are suffering right now. Folks who are in pain. Folks right now who are on the verge of bankruptcy. Folks who are on the verge of losing their house. Folks who can't provide food right now. Who walk into the grocery store and turn around because they can't afford it and they end up stealing. There are folks right now who ain't got no shoes on their feet. They ain't got no clothes. They ain't got nothing. There are folks right now who are looking on their bank accounts and see $0 in their bank accounts. There are folks who open their wallets and see nothing. There are folks right now who got up this morning and got a letter that their jobs have been taken away. An email that you no longer have a job to take care of family. I was reading yesterday of a young man, I think it was a young man who lived as an immigrant in this country for years and finally decided to become a U.S. citizen, deciding that it's time. And he was a permanent resident and applied for citizenship. And you can go look up that story. We're not making it up. And so he applied to become a citizen. But he stood for equal rights. He was speaking his mind on social media and all of that. But, he's a permanent resident. He took for granted what we all have taken for granted, that we are living in a free country, a free society. So he got his date for his interview to become a U.S. citizen. This is routine in our country, in our society. We go there, we do an interview, we pass the test, and we're given the paperwork so that we're now naturalized U.S. citizens. So he went there to become a U.S. citizen only to be arrested and be locked up on his interview date, on the greatest day of his life. He was arrested by immigration. And when they asked what was he arrested for, no one is able to tell him what it is no longer welcome in this country. So there are folks right now who are facing ruins, they're facing separation from families, from friends. So we must be cognizant of our place in society and what it is that we can do. And sometimes there's limited stuff we are able to do. Think about the people during the Civil War, when Black folks had to be put on the railroad, which is not physical railroad. It was moving African Americans from one location to the next location to the next location to be able to get from the south to the north. The great railroad that good white folks helped Black folks save themselves and taking them out of slavery. So we've had people all throughout our history that has helped protected being good stewards of life. And so you know how dangerous it would have been for you to, in those days, to have hidden a Black man in your house and trying to get them to another location so that they can travel across state lines, who were, because at that time they were slaves. They were owned by a plantation owner who considered that's property. And even in the decision of the Supreme Court that said that African Americans were property. And they had to go back as a country and pass the 14th Amendment to the Constitution that removed a stain from our, not from our history, but from the books that said that African Americans were property. And that was created by the Supreme Court, ruling in the Dred Scott decision that African Americans were property. And so there are these challenges that we face as a people, and we must meet them, full on. And my place in this part is to play a little role, not in the political side, but in the humanitarian side. That's what I want to play a role in. I want to speak up what my heart would allow me to speak up for, what my conscience would allow me to speak up for, what it is I can do. I can vote and I can do constructive things. But what I most want to do is to do the humanitarian thing, to do what it is that I promised myself when I saw my parents suffering. That is what I'm able to do with Face Friends Foundation. But a lot of you have platforms that you can do something else in terms of moving this struggle along. So, I appreciate it. And, I had to speak with you because I didn't want to just play the music all along. I want to speak with you, give you what's in my heart, and tell you what I think. Let me take a look to see what else we need to do. I know that, we have volunteers who are working behind the scene, and let me see what it is that I need to do in terms of that. So give me back a second, folks. But do what it is that you're called to do in your heart. Do something, So let me take a look to see what it is that I'm able to do in terms of tie up loose ends and, all of that in terms of this stream. All right, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and end that stream for now. Just looking over what it is that we're trying to get done today. All right, guys, I'm going to end it. We may come back another time in the near future and try to, finish up what it is that we're doing here. As I said, go to facefriendsfoundation.com, facefriendsfoundation.org, go to our point, go to a Walmart registry. Just go to any one of those links. We have so many links there that we have put on there. Go to any one of those and donate to the foundation. Anything, go to the Walmart registry. That is an important one because it allows you to be able to purchase something from the Walmart registry and it will come directly to us. Like we saw just recently, we have people donating book bags and all of that coming directly without having to with us being at a store. So if you go there, you can donate, purchase something. We have rice and stuff there and condensed milk for people who are, have to have that. And there's just so many things we put on there. So you can go there and just, buy something, whatever it is, and Walmart will send it to us, and you don't have to lift a finger in terms of getting up and go do. That's your part you're playing right there. That's what it is you're doing. So, you can't say I couldn't do it. And if I try to put as much information in the to show what it is that, let me see here. What it is that you can do. So we're just promoting some of the stuff that we have done so far. that's going to cause, hopefully we can get a strike on there. On my Facebook. All right, guys, I appreciate it. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you, guys.